A lot of people have things they want to change, whether it's their
Mhm.
health, whether it's their marriage, their finances, but they procrastinate on it and they don't really go all in.
I'm a deep guy and I just don't find the hype or the shallowness of fitness to be something I want to subscribe to.
When you do hard things, on the other end of that endeavor is inner peace or fulfillment. Whereas if you do easy things or break promises and cut corners, on the other end of that decision is guilt, remorse, self-shame. I know what sobriety can do. It's a superpower. That's why I'm here today. It's attractive to the world because unconsciously you're saying, I'm disciplined. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crane. And today I got a guest with me, man. I'm really excited to have a conversation and do an interview with Ryan Groth. Welcome, my man. Grateful to have you here. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me, Sean. I'm excited to hang with you today.
Yeah, dude. You're in Maui right now, right?
I am. Yeah, Maui,
Yeah.
Hawaii.
I've been to Maui
You-
one time. I love it. Ryan and I met, what was it? Probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, maybe
Mhm.
6 months ago now in, was it Dallas or Austin, Texas? At a mastermind we were both speaking at for
Yep.
uh, was it Gathering of the Kings or what is the,
Yep.
yeah. So that was really cool. That was the first time we met. You were a speaker and a presenter. I was as well, and we had time to just chat a little bit. And we talked a lot about the industry that we're both in. We're both involved in home service businesses, right? Like
Mhm.
you do sales training, I do mindset and fitness coaching. So we knew a lot of the same people. And then we talked about sports. Your next athlete played in the minors for baseball, talked about family, and then started talking a lot about health and fitness. And that's something that we really spent a lot of time discussing. And, I remember it was an interesting conversation. And it's cool to have you right now interviewing you because you went through a perspective shift from that time until like how we reconnected maybe 2 weeks ago. You had to go through, I don't want to call it soul searching, but you had to kind of create a mindset shift or go through something that helped you to focus on your health and to start hitting this next level in your life, right? Do you want to talk about that a little bit? And this is a good way to open up. It's like a lot of people have things they want to change, whether it's their
Mhm.
health, whether it's their marriage, their finances, but they kind of procrastinate on it and they don't really go all in. And it seemed like that's where you were at when it came to your health and fitness. So would you just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. And so I don't think I'm the only one here where it's like you're on the fence on going all in on your health because you might be thinking, let me, for me, I'm like, look at how Tommy's doing it, or look at how somebody's transformed their health. And I met with, I went to Andy Elliott's office and I did a recording and I didn't publish it. I just decided to keep it to myself. But I, um, I met him and he was like, dude, you should get in better shape. And I just had different like people that I, admire for, especially on the physical side, with their influence, that I was kind of comparing myself against. And I was like, honestly, if I'm being real, I was just really struggling with what's the real why, because I've been going through a spiritual growth journey and business challenges, ups and downs, and family. We're all growing. I have 5 kids, number 6 on the way. Just I'm very busy, and I've been making a lot of excuses, and I have a tonal, I work out occasionally, but there's just like flippant and not all over the place, and I'm eating anything in sight and still look okay, and that's all right, and in my head I was justifying those things. But when I saw you, it was nice to see you in action, and I just wanted to hear the substance of what you were coming out and saying. I'm a deep guy, and I just don't find the hype or the shallowness of fitness to be something I want to subscribe to. So I need like a real. I needed something that was going to go down to like my gut, so that because I know me, dude. If I decide to do something, I'm all in, and I just was like, I don't want to be half in. So for me, man, I had to get like kind of introspective. I had to get spiritual. I had to think about it. And honestly, I had like an end of year kind of moment where I was with a group of other people, and I was just like kind of praying and asking for like something that God wanted me to do. And he just says like, "Hey, you love me, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "I want all of you." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I want all of you, like your body. I want it to be a vessel and a temple that's pure and uninhibited with anything that's uh that's toxic, anything that's not good for you. I want all of you. Because I give him a lot of my time, I give him a lot of my affection, my family gets a lot of me, but I feel like I was holding back. And I'm not saying God's like a performance he's like a judge trying to get people to perform for him. That's not I just felt like he wanted to see if I was all in with him with respect to my body. And as I started to think about it, I was like, "But why would you want me to do that? God, like why would you want me to go all in on my body?" He goes, "Dude, like I've given you influence, and if you don't steward it well, I'm going to give it to somebody else." It's like I'm going to find somebody else who's going to go all in and be the person that the world needs to see. And I'm not trying to be everyone's hero by any stretch, but what I don't want to be is a double-minded man, and a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. And so if I'm like, oh, I don't really drink that much, but then I'm like, but I'll drink a few, or oh, I don't really drink soda, but let me crack open a Coke because it's like a treat. Or, oh, I don't really drink energy drinks, but you know what? Like I'm dragging one to the baseball practice at the end of the day, in the middle of the week. And I'm just like over here, oh, I don't really eat a lot of carbs, but my wife just made sourdough pancakes. I'm just going to crush them right now. Or, and I just like, I hate and I say that I hate a strong word, but as a person, a man of conviction who stands on has a position in my world, to not be strong in my position, I feel like lowers your ability to actually influence. And all of us are leaders, right? If you're a CEO of a company of 20 people or 300 people, or you're now an industry influencer, or you're a local leader in your church or your family or your community, whatever you're doing, you're a leader. And I think young men, especially as I'm more gearing toward men, and in this example, I think they're longing to look at a man who's doing something that's not common, that's going to make them feel a sense of, oh shoot, like I'm not even doing anything close to that. Like that inspires me to want to be better. And because I think a lot of people think they're doing a decent job and they accept the status quo. But I also had to remind myself, like, bro, like God made me physical. Like I'm a physically gifted guy, 6'2". I'm 234 right now. I want to get down to about 222 and be shredded. And I'm like, I like being physical. Like whenever I'm lifting, whenever I'm being physical, I look good. I feel the presence of God in my life. Whenever I'm feeling like Homer Simpson, double minded in all my ways, dude, like I don't feel like I'm giving glory to God. And I want to do that in my business and my family with my leadership. And when your body's a vessel and it's a temple that's like uninhibited with your thought life, your relationships, what you do with yourself. You don't go to sleep feeling any bit depressed or convicted about your choices. You go to sleep like a baby and you sleep with great sleep. And you should be measuring your sleep actually and seeing how you're doing, because you're being your body's a vessel out in the world, and it can bring light and it can bring inspiration. um, but man, like when you're doing something that's self-pleasing all the time, it usually ends in sadness. But if you're doing something that's like requires you to die to yourself a bit, to your preferences, you start to have joy on the other side. If I put the work in and make the sales calls, I ask the tough questions, I follow up, I show up, I do the trip, I eat the food, I do the workout, I go to bed early. All those things are painful now. In the moment, they're not pleasant. But always on the other side, you have upside. Always on the other side, you have joy. Flip it, do something that's easy. Let's smash a pizza. Let's have a Coke. Let's do ice cream because my family wants to eat ice cream. Let's have a bunch of ice cream. Let's have a couple of drinks because somebody says, let's have a couple of drinks. And you're like, cool, I want to get the sales. So let's bond, right? You do all these kind of like compromising actions over time. You, on the other side, you're actually not looking at yourself with joy. You're looking at yourself with a sense of shame or dissatisfaction. And maybe you have a lot of self confidence despite your health choices, but still something gets in you and you're like, I'm not myself. And I want to be a man who brings conviction to the people around me to be better, not to have permission to be average.
No, dude, you said a lot of really good things there. Something I wrote down when we started talking was, and you say this a lot. So for anyone listening, Ryan's on our coaching calls. He joined Unstoppable 365 a couple weeks ago to get his health dialed in to take everything to the next level. And you always say this. You say a double-minded man is what?
Unstable in all of his ways.
Unstable in all ways. And I love that Because as human beings, we're creatures of habit, and it's really hard to like crush it in one, two, three, five areas of life, and then not crush it across the board. Or on the other hand, it's really difficult to like procrastinate and make excuses in certain areas of your life and then expect to be a peak performer in other areas. Like we're typically, the saying, the way you do anything is the way you do everything is
Yeah.
pretty spot on, and I have found fitness to be such a catalyst for success in all areas of life. Because you also said something really important a second ago. You talked about when you do hard things, on the other end of that endeavor is inner peace or fulfillment. Whereas if you do easy things or break promises and cut corners, on the other end of that decision is guilt, remorse, self shame, right? And I'm reading a really interesting book about dopamine and how our brains work. And what it shows is that when you do difficult endeavors, things like cold plunge or working out, making sacrifices, like you experience a little bit of pain, your brain and body wants to create homeostasis, so it's gonna try to put you back into that equilibrium, and so by doing so, you get a little bit, extra, a surplus of endorphins, of these
Mm,
positive neurotransmitters and things that are released in the body. So, like, that's why after a tough workout, it's painful, but then you feel good after. But there's
mhm,
also something deeper there, man. There's something deeper, and it's like your sense of self-worth, you know? There's something subconsciously taking place, something that is palpable, and I'll be honest, man, in my life, my most spiritual moments come to me early in the morning, and then when I'm doing really challenging physical things. Like, I used
mm,
to do a lot of triathlons and
mm,
endurance training, and when I'd be running for hours out in the wilderness or in the sun and just depleting myself, that's when God's voice would get loudest. Or if I'd be on
mm.
my bike for multiple hours and I'm just starving, thirsty, tired, depleted, that's when God's voice would get loudest for me. I
Wow.
mean, you see people who like in the ancient times, people would fast or they'd go on these long treks and stuff. There's
Mhm,
something about, you break through that barrier, the ego, the conditioning that we all go through where people are just like reactionary and surface level and going through their life. It's something like you break through that and you can tap into something much more powerful and different. So that like for me, that's why we connected. I don't know how much of that I shared with you when we first spoke, but for me, fitness has always been a tool to enhance the quality of my life and that spiritual connection that I feel. That's why I got sober.
mhm.
That's why I get up early in the morning to have my alone time. That's working out for me is to like create that connection. When I have that connection and it's firm and it's there, like everything in life makes sense, and my path is
Totally.
just emerging before me, but when you start to lose or feel like you're not fully, like, invested in that connection and relationship, that's when the negative thoughts come, that's when the cravings come, that's when the doubt comes. So, that's when I started my coaching company, man, like, I knew it was way more than just fitness. It was mindset, it was fitness, it was spirituality, it was how to create the ultimate human being, and, you're the exact type of person that I love to work with and to attract and then to build a relationship with because you get that.
Mm,
And not just like you said it perfectly. You're like, okay, I want to be an example for other people. I want other kids or younger men or guys in my business to look at me and question what they're doing in their lives. And that's what it's about. Like if we have results that scream excellence and scream devotion and commitment and all the positive attributes people want to develop, people are just naturally going to want to talk to you. They're going to want to get to know you, whether it's on a broader sense in social media or at home with your kids or in your business. And so that's how you become attractive to people and then create opportunities as well. And then it's an opportunity to impact them. And so let's talk about your business because that's what you're all about. I mean, sales, right? Marketing, stuff like that. Let's talk about your business and how you being healthier and more fit and committed to that aspect of life do you think is gonna impact your business in the next couple years?
Yeah, so I founded a company called Sales Transformation Group. We go by STG, and we're a sales training and coaching platform. We provide sales processes, assessments, sales leadership training and coaching, recruiting services, virtual ride along coaching. We provide a series of services and video trainings and certifications to professionalize the way sales leaders and salespeople go about their business in the trade industries. I found I stumbled across this. It wasn't like I had no idea that I was going to do this growing up. I was trying to be a baseball player, and I played D1 and professional baseball. And when that was over, I kind of was trying to figure myself out. And I found a large commercial roofing contractor who had discovered sales training, who had invested in technology, who had started to manage pipeline and build a sales organization. And when I saw him in action and got mentored by him and sold a software he built for himself, I started to see that the industry at large didn't have, they weren't trained. They weren't like norm. It wasn't normal to have role playing. It wasn't normal to have a sales leader. It wasn't normal to hire for sales competency first versus technicality skills second. And I found that like there was such an opportunity to create atmospheres and environments where like an athlete or like a former athlete, a guy like me, a 25-year-old me who wants to have a family and a career and a mortgage and grow, that they would want to find a home in the trades. I found that that wasn't really the case. And I just honestly, it wasn't sexy. It wasn't attractive. And I'm like, we dude, like I see an opportunity because being an athlete, not going to the trades and seeing like all these companies firsthand and comparing that to a really great brand, I do like 80 million in one their local market. They're fantastic. I saw that the industry needed help, and I felt a calling as a leader and a voice to start to inspire and galvanize people toward transforming their organization into a sales organization that happened to do painting, HVAC, roofing, such and such. So I started to obsess myself around how do we help companies build the sales organizations that happen to do whatever they're doing. Because I know if they have the skill, the competency, the systems, the processes, the culture, the talent, everything will take care of itself. All the other stuff will be fine. Like we'll figure out the other stuff. That's easy to learn. This is the part that I want to develop. So I started this endeavor 7 years ago. It's actually 2018 in February. So it's like about 7 years. And yeah, I just started working with people that I had a relationship with and doing stuff on site and Zooms and then yeah, man, like I just went to a course in group coaching model with a mastermind and a large event. And then I started to add coaches. And today we have like 23 employees, like 6 full-time coaches, a sales team, a marketing team. And, I'm not just like a personality saying, hey, like, I can help you. It's like I'm building a business myself, and I'm reaching the industries that we work with. And a lot of what we talk about is mindset and fitness. And I'm not a fitness coach. And so it's always been important for us to align with resources that are doing it. But, I'm just like anybody else, man. Like I I prioritize other things over my health. And I started to feel it like, dude, I was weighing myself. I'm like 6'2", I'm like 240. I'm looking at myself. I'm like, yeah, I've still got some muscle mass, but like, look at my stomach. And I'm like, seeing myself in a picture that we did of family photos. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm not the stud I once was. I'm not the example. And I'm like, well, I'm not an athlete anymore. I start to make excuses, or I'm not I'm not a young buck. I'm just making all these excuses. I'm like, I'm not 28 anymore. I'm not 32 anymore. And then I started to realize like, dude, this is all crap. Like I got 28-year-olds following me right now, either saying I'm going to be with Ryan and go to war with him or not. Or there's sales leaders saying I want to follow Ryan and be like him and be around him and not like him, but just be around him or not. And I'm like, if I'm average, I'm going to look and blend in with everybody. Like this is just, but I've always been I've always been above average in this part of my life. Why would I stop now? Like, just because I have more kids and I have a business and I have, leadership, responsibilities doesn't mean that that part of my life needs to go backward. And I think everybody has to ask themselves the question, like, you know, where they're at. And what's funny is like, even the people who I follow who are overweight, right? Dude, when they transform from overweight, even though they're not a world class athlete, they look like Bumstead and look like a freaking model. Dude, the fact that they're transforming their life and they're losing weight and gaining muscle and you see the transformation, I'm like, that's inspiring. And you have people who have some God-given talent and physical giftings, and they're under stewarding it. And it's just like everyone loses when you're not being your best around you. And we're all given some sort of opportunity to steward. And if you're faithful with the little, you're going to be given more. If you're faithful with the people you're leading now, you're going to be given more. If you're not faithful with those people you're leading and influencing and the people you're stewarding now, you're not going to be given more. And I think your physical health is huge. Like at the end of the day, there's going to be few people in your sphere who are going to be more disciplined than the leader. And if the leader, there's going to be those few instances, and that leader is going to be like questioning themselves around that person. And then that person starts to get a lot of authority and leadership qualities in your sphere because of their choices, even on a health basis. They get the spotlight, they get opportunity to share. Why? It's because they're doing something that nobody else is willing to do, and that's honorable. Like nobody dishonors that. Everybody wants that. So as a leader, like it's I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm not saying you have to like I'm not going to over spiritualize it. But what I'm saying is like we have a choice to steward our leadership, and that's really what I started to look at myself and say, man, like I'm under stewarding this. I'm like mid level, like Gen Z, the word mid is like the common way to just say average. And just in my head, average sucks. It's not below average in my head. So I'm just like, nah, I'm good, dude. And I remember whenever I was like in my flow state playing baseball, I wasn't drinking alcohol. I was locked in on every area of my life. And I remember people would look at me and they're so intrigued and so inspired to be better because of my choices. And I was like, I'm not gonna lie, dude, that hasn't been a common trait for a couple years. People haven't been asking me those questions. And I'm like, that's not who I am. And at the end of the day, like you have to have a why and you have to have a conviction. And that's really where I've landed is like, I like to use the word, you got to be a steel trap. Like you want to be unflappable. Like you want to be so solid and so dialed that like somebody can dangle whatever they want. You're like, dude, I don't care. Cheesecake, freaking chocolate mousse, Andy's ice cream, tobacco. You can have a Cuban cigar or a whiskey right in front of me, and I'll be like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, I miss those days. And so I just got to the point where I'm like, I want to be back in that place. Plus, my wife doesn't like when I drink and doesn't like when I smoke cigars. Nothing, none of that makes her happier. Doesn't help my marriage at all. So I just started to reflect and dig deep and just say there's so much downside to remaining like mid-level committed to my health. And I just want to be a steel trap because being a steel trap is dangerous. If you can be a steel trap in your health, then you're going to be, you're going to be that much better in other areas of your life. And honestly, in just a few short weeks, counting my macros, eating a lot of less carbs, a lot more protein, I have sustained energy. I've been in ketosis one a day or two already. I'm like been like in a buzz level state, have more energy and more focus. I just feel better about myself. And so at the end of the day, I feel very early into the journey. And but I want to be one of those that those people that gets people to question what they're doing and inspire them, and then be so humble and so loving in the process. So they're just like, yeah, let's go. Like, and they want to do it too because they feel good about what's not just what they see, but what's coming out of you. And I think that's what I'm going for is the kind of the full package. So I don't know if that answered your question. I went off there for a bit.
No, it's good. I love to hear your insights, and you could tell you're very passionate. Like we share a lot in common. I started coaching in 2018. Like you kind of recounted your journey a little bit, and I was like, oh, like checking these boxes that align to me too. Like started coaching in 2018. You're building your organization and your team, and like learning as you go. I'm in the process. Travel. We both travel a lot and speak on
Yep.
stages that we're both building our families. Like we have a lot in common and just your desire to be the best. I admire that. I was laughing. I was like, dude, I'd rather be like a psycho wild man, like drunk and on drugs than average. Like I used to be wild, dude. And I was good at being wild. Like here's the thing. I was the funnest guy to be at a party. I'd pull the girls. I'd make sure you had a fun time. We'd probably get in a fight and we'd end the night like, just raging. I was really fun to be around. So I was good at being a loser. Um, but I'm a lot better at being genuine and authentic. Anyway, I'd never want to be average, and this is the thing that society's suffering from. Men that don't have high expectations or standards, and they do a disservice to everyone around them because they're okay with having man boobs and a fat belly and drinking alcohol and taking pills. They sell themselves short, therefore they negatively impact their children, and the ripple effects takes place. That's why you see 9 out of 10 men are out of shape and overweight, and the statistics are alarming, bro. Like 40% of American men are considered obese. 1 in 25,000 men have abs that you can actually see. Like pretty soon you're going to be one of the one, right? I want you to be one of the one, not one of the 25,000. And these are all symptoms of mediocrity. These are symptoms of weakness in leadership. A leader, if you're a man and you have a child, you're a leader. If you're a man
Thousand
and you run a
percent.
business, you're in a position of leadership. Like if you're a man by definition, you're a leader. Like and so many individuals are just not rising to their potential, and they don't recognize the importance of really being their best. Like when you first start, it's truly a selfish endeavor. Here's what I mean by that. Like when you start, you have to make it a selfish endeavor if you wanna build momentum and start to get results. I see
Mm.
guys all the time, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna get sober for my wife and kids," or "I'm gonna do it for this and that," and they end up breaking somewhere down the road. They end up backsliding and quitting. I'm like, "Dude, what happened? You said it was for your family." It's because deep down inside in your core belief, it has to be for you. You have to see the value in what you're doing because, like, we're all driven by self-preservation and then to grow. Like, we wanna feel the results of what we're doing and the effects of it. And so, if it's not for you and you're not selfish initially, you're gonna find an excuse. Sad as that is. But then as you continue on that path, then you can really be influential for other people, and that's when, like, service and truly impacting lives becomes paramount, you know? Because you've got to a place where you know you're not gonna break. You got to a place where you are the example, where you hold a high standard. Um, and, you know, for me, nothing like physical fitness has forged discipline and confidence in my life, uh, like the way working out does, consistently. Because you do hard things every day that prove to you, you're proving to yourself that I could do it, that I got what it takes. There's something so powerful there that takes place, you know? And, like, when you talked about, like, not having the drink, not having the food. Like, you could put 10 naked women in front of me, supermodels, like, I'm not touching them. You could put a bunch of whiskey and drugs in front of me, not touching it. Ice cream, not touching it. A Cuban cigar, I'm smoking that motherfucker, though. But but because I smoke cigars still.
Yeah,
But
you're
I
on
could
board with
quit
that. I'm
I
currently
can
not
quit right
touching my
now. Yeah,
yeah.
no, and I respect that. I could quit right now and never touch or crave another cigar again. I can flip a switch in my brain and never touch it again, and I did that with alcohol and drugs 12 years ago. 2.5 years ago, or maybe 3 now, I should mark the date on no, 2.5, I quit dessert forever. No
It's
ice
cute.
cream, no
Crazy.
cake, no cookies, and that's the funny thing, people always say that that's crazy, and, like, what is crazy about that? Like, you know how much dessert I've eaten my entire life as a kid?
It's true.
And think about I get it, it tastes really good. For 5 seconds, it tastes really good, and then you're left with the negative
For 5
consequence
hours, you feel like
of
crap.
that choice because it's so addicting, it tastes so good, and that's why a lot of people not only gain body fat, but you weaken your mental resolve and discipline, you know, and discipline is a muscle. I don't know where it's located in your brain, if they could find it somewhere, but it's true. When you work it, you develop that muscle. When you don't work it, it atrophies, and you're more likely to give in to these temptations and stuff. And, bro, we're in a world full of temptation and overconsumption, and there's a lot of distractions everywhere. You know, like, the average man is plagued by so many distractions and so much desire and pleasure-seeking behavior. That's why they get weak. And, you know, there's something profound that takes place when you're able to instill discipline and do hard work and not go that traditional path that everyone's taking now. Going the unconventional route like we're all on. This is how you become you said it earlier, you become someone that catches people's eye. You become an anomaly. People are like, "Dude, what's Ryan doing? Like, look at that guy. He's moving different, man." Like, well, you already do though. You live in Maui, you're raising a family, you got 6 kids, which is abnormal. You know, you're building your own business and you're in an industry where that skill set and that thing that you provide, that value was needed. And now you're just gonna become this machine in your physicality. That's how you get people's attention. All of those little details. You're marching to the beat of your own drum, dude. You're your own person. And I respect that and love that. But a lot of people don't do that in life, man. They just kind of fit in, they settle,
Mm,
and they coast. So I mean, dude, that's the thing I want to change the most is I want to wake people up. I want to get them, just shake them, man, and get them to realize like you have so much more in you that you can become and demonstrate to the people around you. Like
yeah.
and and and,
Let
and
me let
it's
me jump in on something, Sean. I wanna, like, just lean into this. So, like, I'm gonna just I'm gonna lean into this. So, like, if you're
yeah,
listening to this, 2 things. There's 2 things. If I was you and I was a local business owner, I would have I'm telling you, like, the most powerful brotherly bonds that I've ever created, the most galvanizing, like, moments in my relationship has been in the weight room with a guy. Okay, like if I'm you, and if I'm not you, Sean, but I'm a local business owner. I have a electric or roofing company in such and such town, bro. You want to create a culture and momentum. Have a place and a time where everybody works out on a regular basis, and make that part of your discipleship story. Like you're creating mentally tough people. So whenever I go, I don't do these anymore because I have coaches that do it. But I was in Mississippi last year and I did a kickoff, which I haven't done these very much. We do a 10, 12 a month. We're all over the country doing kickoffs. I'm like, let's go to the gym. And I'll have a couple guys. These guys are former college athletes. And I'm like, great. I'm not in the best shape I'd like to be, but I got to be the example. And I make a workout. Dude, one guy threw up, all this stuff. Like, and they're just like, dude, thank you. You pushed me. And then like you could see something will trigger into their life. Right. And then I'll say, like, if you're a leader of a company and you should create a space where you could do that and you can normalize this in your culture. Talk about making your sales guys better, your leaders better, your project managers better. It's going to change their life, and you got to lead by example. You can do that, or you can go to happy hour. You can't do both on a regular basis. I've tried to be physically optimal and have social drinking at the same time. You can't do both because they both are terribly time consuming and energy consuming. And so the other thing I'll say is, like, if you're going to see me or Sean Crane at an event and we're going to be there, you will not find us. I mean, this is me this year, okay? And I'm, Lord willing, I'm standing on it. Let's not say let's have a few drinks. Say I'll meet you at the gym. Let's go. What time are you going to go? All right, let's go. And so then I have my workout plan from Unstoppable. Matt Fleming put it there. Just join me on my workout plan. Can you do chest tomorrow or a push? Yeah, let's do it. And then we just crush and we just push each other. Cause I could tell you, dude, like, it's a bonding moment. Like, there's a guy that's speaking at our conference, Andy Habaika. He's going to do a sales thing at our Transform conference. And this dude, I'm telling you, bro, like, I was like, I'm in Phoenix. I want to meet with you. And he goes, I'm really busy, dude. I don't really have time. And I was like, well, do you work out? He goes, yeah. And he goes, what time? He says 4. I was there at 3:55. He was there at 4:02. Immediate respect gained. And then of course I went in there and I was a gangster in the gym because I've been in the gym for 20 something years. Immediate respect gain. And then we have a friendship, and he's speaking at the conference. And that's how you build relationships. Like we have so much time. All right, cool. You want to see me at the conference, which I want to talk about in a minute. We're going to have Matt and Dr. J there, and we're going to do morning workouts. Are you going to show up? Or are you going to be hungover? Are you going to roll into breakfast like half dizzy? Are you going to show up saying, we've already got it in, we've already done some time, like, let's get after it? Because I like to say, like, our industry needs leaders to create momentum. And now let's fill up the gym. Let's fill up the
Yeah.
outdoor workout and do a circuit training. And I think that's like kind of the kind of stuff that, like, I get excited about. And if I'm a local contractor, I want to normalize that, and I want to put ourselves out there because, I'm not saying you have to, like there's some, I'm just saying, when there's cultures around physical discipline, the brotherhood, the bonding, the camaraderie that's created, it's unmatched, and it will overflow into sales, it'll overflow into investment properties and family and all those things. And so
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing
everything.
about.
And, you're well spoken. I'll be a little more crude than you in this statement. I'll say, like, guys that wanna stay up late drinking are pussies, and they're not gonna be in the gym with the warriors crushing the workout in the morning.
They
You know,
won't.
like, it's about your habits and routines. When I used to stay up late and drink, I wouldn't get up early, and I was a shadow of the person I could have been because I wasn't consistent in any positive things. I was at an event that Victor Rancourt threw, and everyone's at the bar super late drinking. No one's in the gym. Handful of guys next morning. And who was it that walked in? Tim Grover. You know who Tim Grover is?
Yeah, of
He
course.
walked in. He saw everyone at the bar drinking, and he got on stage to deliver the keynote. And everyone's there listening. He goes, "Hey, everyone's hungover, right?" And he goes, last night I walked into the hotel and I saw all you guys down at the bar high fiving, drinking. You guys had so much enthusiasm. In here, you're not even paying attention. Your energy is so low. He goes, that's why you're not successful. He goes, imagine if you had the same enthusiasm to get in the gym, work on your business, and become your best self as you do to drink and party and check out. And he hit the nail on the head. And that's exactly what I saw when I started getting involved in the trades. I saw all these guys who they were driven to build successful businesses. They wanted to take care of their families. Their intentions were good. It all comes from a good place. But in that endeavor, in that pursuit to build the company, stress, pressure, all of a sudden bad habits to deal with that stress and pressure, drinking, smoking,
Mhm.
taking a pill, eating food. They're out on these service calls, they're doing the ride alongs or eating whatever. All of a sudden, they're starting to become lesser versions of themselves because they don't have the right habits. And I saw that. I'm like, dude, I could fix that. I know what sobriety can do, it's a superpower, that's why I'm here today. I know what fitness can do, it's another superpower. I know what the right habits and then having accountability and support to make that transformation can do on an individual. And when you elevate the person, the individual, by default, everything in their life is positively affected. You show up differently for your family. You have better energy, you're more present. You show up way differently in your business. Sales calls, leadership, it's all gonna excel and exceed what you did before because you are a more dynamic, evolved version of yourself. So it's really easy to help people make more money or be better leaders because we just help them to become better versions of themselves. And seeing what you're already doing in your life, I can only imagine what like Ryan Groth 10.0 is going to be like because you're already charismatic. You have a good heart. You're a good family man. You're a good business owner. But like, dude, you're going to hit a whole nother level and people are going to feel it when they get around you.
Mhm.
Being physically fit, it's attractive to the world because unconsciously you're saying, I'm disciplined. I keep promises to myself. I make commitments and I stick to them. I don't get distracted. I'm
Mhm.
focused on being my best self. I care enough about myself to show up like this versus the guy who's fat and sloppy, dude. What is the message he's sending to the world? I don't give a fuck. I break promises to myself every day. I'm a pleasure seeker. I don't have a real big purpose. I don't care about my impact on other people. Like, dude, if someone hits me up like, "Hey, Sean, let's go out and get a drink, man. I want to pick your brain." Bro, sorry. I hope you well in life, but you're not the right person to come into my life. If you hit me up to go to the gym, absolutely. But if you hit me up to go have a drink, you're probably not the person that I want to be around. You know? And that's just the way it is, man. And I so anyway, let's talk about your event too, because this is gonna be
Yeah.
really cool. So Ryan and I connected about 6 months ago. You jumped in the Unstoppable program about 2 weeks ago. You did your blood work with Dr. J first.
Yep.
And before the event, let's actually talk about that. I wanna know what that process was like for you because,
Yeah.
like, as a business owner, you have P&Ls and KPIs, and when you see the numbers, it helps you make informed decisions. It helps you to make sense of what's taking place within your organization, and I tell people all the time, that's the same for your health. Once you see the blood work, it really helps to put things in perspective and help to shape your future behavior. Because 'Cause you're
Yeah.
like, "Dang, if I'm eating that, it's gonna lead to more leaky gut inflammation. Oh, if I'm not taking these supplements, like I saw that I was deficient," and it starts to paint a picture for you, right? So what was that experience for you like doing the blood work? And then how has your experience been since you started doing the workouts, you're on the calls, and you're a
Yeah.
part of the program?
Yeah. So, the blood work was really insightful. I was the most interested in the testosterone levels because it's like, you just hear about it and you kind of, I kind of look around. I'm like, they're on TRT, they're on TRT, and I never touched it. I've never touched it. I had an encounter when I was playing baseball that was just like so vivid that I'm not going to do it. And I was like, I just hope it's not so low that I. So I was about 590. They said, and I'm like, that was when I was doing just nothing. So I'm hoping that naturally, when I take it, in 3 or 4 months, that I'm going to be closer to 7, maybe 8. John Cena is like 850 without any supplements, and I'm like, and he's 46. So I'm thinking, let's see what I can do naturally and go from there. What was really interesting is my omega sixes were really off the charts. So he was like, dude, you need to eat venison and beef like 75 to 85% of the time. Like there's a lot of omega sixes. I think that's what he said, chicken and fish. And I eat a lot of chicken and fish. So now I'm like doing more of a flip and I feel it. And then he was like, dude, you have moderate inflammation in your blood vessels. And so that was really concerning because my dad died at 46 of a heart attack. Okay. 46, was a drug addict, did pain pills, drank every day, smoked weed every day, didn't work out. And he was a physically gifted guy. Like that guy was a stud, but he let it deteriorate and he aged fast and he died of a heart attack because he overdosed on pain pills. And I'm like, dude, that's how my dad died. Like I'm not on pain pills, but like this is scary, dude. Like, I don't want to have a heart attack. And I've had little moments where I feel like a little bit of tension in my heart. And I'm like, dude, alcohol, boom, tobacco, boom, fried foods, boom, sugar, boom, fries with burgers. Like, and then I had the leaky gut and the wheat. He's like, you don't have what's the word? You're not allergic, but you're highly intolerant. So it's like, you need to get, and I'm like, okay. So to have a clear path of what I should or shouldn't eat and simplifying my life, it's been so good. And I've started to, I feel a lot better. I'm not farting all the time, dude. I'll be honest. Like I'll eat burger and fries and have a beer, and I'm like farting, and my family's like, "Oh, dad," and I'm like, "Oh, it's just normal. The guy, people fart." It's like, dude, farting's not like that much. That stinks like that. There's something wrong. My wife's always been like, "Dude, there's something wrong with you," and I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know. Somebody help me." So, trying to fix that. I'm feeling good. And yeah, man. So that's been a great experience. And then, literally as soon as I got the app, Matt Fleming within like 30 minutes gives me a plan, sets my stuff. It wasn't like a long, drawn out process. I'm like, dude, he's on it. And I just literally stepped in and abided on it immediately. And I'm in week 2, and like, dude, I did my circuit training. I have 6 sets of push-ups within 30 seconds on the circuit training. First day, I did like 26 my first set, and then I'd be down to like 12 on my 6th set. And then this week, I did 38 my first set, 26 on my last set. So you could just feel like, just in a short time, just getting things back on track, man. So I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe we could talk about the conference real quick, because we'll probably be wrapping up.
Yeah, yeah, I wanna hear about it. So, um, let everyone know date, where it's at, all the details, man, and so my team's gonna be there. Dr. J is gonna be presenting briefly, talking about what we do at Unstoppable. Matt Fleming's gonna be running the workout. We'll have a booth. So, pay attention, because if you wanna level up your sales or your ability to crush it in the trades, make more money, be more influential, you gotta be there.
For sure. So this is our annual conference. I've kind of I'm starting to rev it up and wanting to make it a bigger thing. It started more as a client event. It's called the Transform Conference. So if you go to salestransformationgroup.com, you'll see in the top. But basically, we're having a week long event where it's the residential audience followed by commercial. So you got to pick whichever kind of contractor you are, residential or commercial, and it's 2 back-to-back events. We're going to have about 200 people there a piece, so 400 total. Um, I got Tommy Mello speaking. I got, like, I mean, you should look at the lineup. I mean, there's a lot of, $100 million plus owners there, $100 million plus or $50 million plus sales leaders there, and salespeople that are, selling 20 million, 7 million, 10 million. So we're talking like my closest people and all of our coaches and our sales team and myself. We're going to be coming together, and I have some personal transformation guys, like some spiritual type content. I have I'm a deep well of things around the spirit. I'm not like, this isn't a Christian event. I'm not saying you got to be a Christian to come, but you're going to be inspired in that kind of way, in a deep way. I think it'll touch you. And so if you feel that's a value for you and you just want to be around winners, you want to be around people who are crushing it in life, in their business. You want to hear from sales leaders and actually how to grow in your sales team. If you want to hear from salespeople on how to actually sell better, you want personal transformation and fitness. You want to learn best practices all around building the sales function of your business from owner down to sales rep. You guys should all come out. So I'm envisioning like Chris Booth. I was messaging him like, bro, come out. He's a Whitestone Industries commercial painting company, unstoppable guy. He's also an STG client. I'm like, he's like, I'm going to bring my team. That's what I want you to do. I want you as an owner and executive to bring your team, and you guys come out together and like almost like just come size each other up. How's the other industry? What's SCG's community like? How do we measure up? How do they measure up with us? How can we inspire them? How can they make us better? How can we question what we're doing because they're crushing it? And how can they be inspired by us? And just come together in such a way where the trade industries with the sales function is ready to elevate and learn from one another, and then to rally together and have a blast. And so it's meant to be inspiring. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant to be a great place to network and just experience the STG environment, the world that we've created that kind of aligns in so much of what you talk about, Sean, along with the best business practices and professionalism and culture and community impact. At the end of the day, I just want to make the trades a place where, the high school valedictorian, the college, they want to go to the trades. They want to be a tradesman or a trade owner, a trade leader, and trade executive versus going to medical or going to technology, because it's so attractive, it's so exciting, it's so interesting, it's so helpful. So there's a lot of things that we'll talk about, but this event. I want you guys to come. You can go to sellonstg.com/transform. You pick whatever event you want to go to, commercial, residential, and you just look at the lineup. Check out the sponsors, fill out the form. One of our sales reps will talk to you and tell you what it's about, the price point, depending on if you're a client or not, and if you had an influencer, promote it, and you could use a discount, that type of stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be sick. I mean, Unstoppable 365 will be there, a bunch of reputable people, and you're wearing a sales athlete shirt. Something Victor Rancour coined too is like business is a sport. I see people wearing that stuff all the time, and it's like you got to train like an athlete. Your mental, your physical, your habits, your routines, and like going to these events is key because you're getting around other people and you're seeing what they're doing. You're having these conversations. It's going to keep you sharp. It's going to also open you up to new ideas. And this is how you have these little hockey sticks moments in your personal growth and in your business is getting to these events and getting in a new environment. It's so important. So we'll make sure that we share this again inside the Unstoppable community because there's a lot of guys in there that would benefit from being at the event. We'll blast this out on social media. And I think it's going to be an amazing event, man. Like, if you're somebody that's in the trades, you want to sharpen yourself, you want to learn how to lead your team better, sharpen your sales skills. This is definitely an event to be at. So I'll also put the website in the link for this podcast. You're awesome, man. I appreciate you, jumping on here and sharing. I can't wait to just continue to grow with you, see your transformation, see the impact you're going to have. And dude, like we're both in a similar industry with different businesses and things that we do, but we're here with a common cause and fight, and that's to elevate the trades. And last thing I'm going to say is like, dude, you become a tradesman and you're doing a very valuable, skilled thing that's going to help other people, putting roofs on their houses, electricity, plumbing, all that stuff. That's like the foundation of America. And if you're a business owner in the trades, you're going to make a lot more money than a doctor, and you're not going to have all that debt. And a lot of people go to school and they waste that time and they end up in debt and they end up lost. The trades are making a massive comeback, and then people are seeing the money that you can make and how you can provide for your family, and it's very attractive. So if you are a young person, you have young kids, start teaching them or getting them to learn about the trades. It could be one of the best decisions they ever make in their life to get involved in the trades and to learn that skill set in whatever way that is. But Ryan, thank you, dude. Keep crushing it, man. And I'll see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, brother.